God bless the United States of America.
And today in the 4x4, we are taking 4 minutes during the 4 to delve a little bit deeper into the president's address and what we can expect during his final year in office.
With us now, political analyst Brian Sobel. Brian, thanks for being here.
Happy to be here, Kiva.
Thank you. So, final speech, final State of the Union, I should say. If you had to give the president a grade on his tone, the delivery, accuracy, the overall message, what would that grade be and why?
I think it was a B. I think it was an okay speech. I think the writing was good, but not lofty or soaring or special necessarily.
Underwhelmed, were you?
Not underwhelmed, just, you know, this is a legacy building speech. It's his last speech. And I thought there could have been a little bit more bang to it, although the clip that was just shown, the final, was very, very good. He knocked that last paragraph out of the park.
I want to show another clip, and this is in regards to the American economy. And the president talked directly, kind of Republicans there in the House, about the cause of the recession, saying it's not, you know, well, let's roll the tape. I don't want to speak for the president.
Food stamp recipients did not cause the financial crisis. Recklessness on Wall Street did.
Talking about, you know, blaming the lies with businesses and not with government programs.
Yes, I thought there were some mixed messages in the speech, to be honest with you.
That being one of them.
That being one of them. And the other one was, on the one hand, you can't say that the problem is that Republicans and Democrats aren't getting along and aren't doing much about it, and then launch into criticism around it. Partisan. So, you know, those kinds of things were inconsistent for me.
Because if they're not getting along, they're not going to do anything in the first place.
Exactly, and if they're not getting along, it's your job as president to keep working to get along. And to his credit, he said in the coming year, he's going to work very hard to do that. So we will see.
We will see. All right, the president also took on terrorism head-on. Let's take a listen.
Priority number one is protecting the American people and going after terrorist networks. Both Al-Qaeda and now ISIL pose a direct threat to our people because in today's world, even a handful of terrorists who place no value on human life, including their own, can do a lot of damage. They use the internet to poison the minds of individuals inside our country. Their actions undermine and destabilize our allies. We have to take them out.
In this climate, Brian, what we're seeing now, these attacks that we're seeing not just here but all around the world, did the president say enough last night about terrorism, enough to assure the American public that we will be safe, we will be fine?
Well, I think some of the criticism coming out of Washington, D.C. among Republicans was that he did not say enough about national security. One of the things that somebody's going to have to articulate is the difference between warfare as we knew it years ago in this country's history and the asymmetrical type of enemy we're facing now. It's a completely different enemy that we face today, and somebody's going to have to take that on. So not addressing it at length in a speech, and it was his final speech, so I get it, but somebody's got to have a real productive conversation in Washington, D.C. about this new threat that has been with us since 9/11.
A lot of the post-debate talk on the networks was, are we a safer country now compared to when the president took office?
Well, and that's going to be the ongoing debate, and there are metrics people look at, you know, how many people have been killed and where the attacks have occurred and what countries have been destabilized. And, you know, history has a way of arguing about this. We will not know Barack Obama's place in history for decades.
That's what I was going to ask you. How do you really judge the effectiveness of a State of the Union?
You don't. It takes a long, long time. You know, we're just now getting a real handle, for example, on the Carter administration. That's a long time ago. And where he sits in the great spectrum of American presidents. It takes a long time because so many of these programs take so long to roll out and to be effectively judged and that sort of thing. And so saying, you know, Obama was fantastic or not fantastic this early it's way too soon.
Even the Affordable Care Act, we'll know.
Absolutely, later. Affordable Care Act and his other initiatives, we'll not know how effective those were, how good those were for many, many years to come.
And finally, South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley.
Yes.
You hear high praise. You
Yes.
also hear sharp criticism today, even from her own party.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
What did you make? Well, how would you grade her?
Well, I thought it was an okay speech. She had a very defined role last night, which was to counter the president's position. She's being talked about a little bit as a potential vice presidential candidate.
You see that happening?
She has some things in her background that are problematic.
Okay.
She's had an ethics issue. There's a couple of other personal issues that are there. You kind of don't want to start with a candidate who has a cloud over their head and then push them out to be a vice presidential candidate.
Maybe they learned the lesson from Sarah Palin?
Yes.
What happened once she was vetted, that things...
Yes, you have to do that way in advance, and you have to know what you're dealing with.
2 okay speeches, you say, and 2 campaign speeches in a way. I think he was pushing for a Democrat to get elected.
Oh, yes. That would be his job.
Going after Trump.
Absolutely. Well, but not by name, but by...
Well, by name, yes.
But,
right.
by what they stand for.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you, Brian.
Absolutely,
Appreciate
Mike.
the conversation.
Kiva.
All right.